Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Tonight's video is probably going to be the last that I do on this particular topic of Celine Dion because I've still got people emailing me and asking me questions about it. And the important thing to say is that my analysis videos are using objective data, and it's not something that is an interpretation. It's looking at actual pitch, and everything is in the description below in my videos if you want to cross-reference them. If you want to isolate vocals with the Moises.ai isolating software that I use, you can do it all yourself to see what I'm saying is factual and it is objective. And I'm still getting people sending me things and a performance from the Olympics, which wasn't the performance at the Eiffel Tower. It was another performance, and it looked like it was in the judo arena or stadium at the Olympic Games. So I'm gonna just bring that up on screen to show you exactly what's going on, and we will have a look at that performance from the fashion show where I didn't have the audio for the first verse, or at least the backing track audio file that Celine seemed to be miming along with, because we know that the second half was mimed and lip synced. But somebody gave me a theory as to where that first verse has come from. But again, I'm just going to jump into this objectively. So we're going to look at the fashion show performance recently and the 1990s performance at the same time. Fashion show's left, 1990s is right. We'll have a listen and see what we can hear.
Of love asleep and tight.
So the first thing to point out is that we had a plosive in 1990. And a plosive is when air hits the microphone. I mean, it's really subtle, and yeah, the audio quality is not great, but you can still hear plosives when they happen. Let's go back.
Are rolling by like thunder now.
And one thing to point out is on the left hand side we've actually had pitch correction applied, but as for the theory of this being the audio that they've used, that isn't the case. But it does show you, considering that it isn't the case, that it's not the same audio, and you can see here the way that these wouldn't overlap if we move them from one side to the other, but you can hear how similar these versions are. And this is what great singers can do. They can sound like it's exactly the same, but they are individual performances. Let's listen on.
As I look in your eyes.
And again, it sounds really similar, and the timing will go out a little bit as well, so you'll notice that.
I hold on to.
And there we had a little bit of air hitting the microphone with hold. A hold on. So again, on that right hand side, you can tell that it's a live performance because of these kinds of things. And once that has been recorded on a microphone, getting rid of that is an absolute nightmare. And plosives as well. You'd have to try and EQ them out, but it's really difficult to totally eradicate things like this, air hitting the microphone.
Your body and feel each
And then again, that feel. So we've got a really sensitive mic in the 90s that, yeah, getting rid of that, like I said, would be a nightmare.
move you make.
But again, listen to the consistency.
Your voice is warm and tender, a love that I could not forsake, 'cause I'm your lady.
So yeah, I mean, it's great to hear left to right, and yeah, the left has been pitch corrected, but having said that, the left has been pitch corrected. The right side that sounds almost identical, we know it's not identical, but it sounds really similar, is totally live. So it gives you an idea how accurate Celine Dion was with that performance anyway, that it's standing up to a pitch corrected performance. But I mean, the irony is she wouldn't need it in the first place. That's why it sounds so similar. Right. Anyway, let me just go through this, because I know people will say, oh, well, how do you know it's not the same from left to right? I'm going to try and drag over the 1990s performance. Should we take that one over? And generally, when I do this before, obviously when it's the same audio file, it'll overlap perfectly. So, I mean, the first thing that you'll notice straight away, where's this little notch gone on this part here from the other performance? It doesn't exist. But we'll just pretend that, we're trying to line these up, and it doesn't really matter that we can see already that it's not going to happen. So if I try to line up these vertical lines here, because we've got that little notch, that's never going to happen. If I move it over here, and this is actually, because it's pitch corrected, it's directly over the line, so that's not going to match up. I'm going to see if I can get any of these matching over the top here. And again, it's going to be impossible to get any of these. I can get maybe a little bit here, but then all of this rest here, and that's kind of not matching up. Obviously, this isn't matching up. So even though when you look at it from right to left, you might think, oh, well, it kind of looks like it might be similar. The killer is always in the pitch, because this pitch is so unique, and the timing is so unique of the vibrato, because we couldn't get this to overlap this one perfectly, because the vibrato is at an ever so slightly different speed. It's only got to be out by a few hundredths of a second, that when you then repeat it over and over again, obviously if it's out by 300ths of a second, then it'll be out by 6, and then 9, and then 12, and then 15. So then it's all going to go out of sync rather than being perfectly over the top. Then in the performance on the left, obviously it's a shortened performance, so it doesn't go into that verse. But anyway, even though the vocal lines, the melody is exactly the same, and I know that Celine did vary it a lot in this particular song, so from that point of view, I know why the person has said, oh, this is what they used for that performance at the fashion show, but it just turns out that it wasn't actually this exact one. But as I said in that video, I haven't got access to every single performance and Celine's vaults of all of her performances across all time, so I don't think we're ever going to find that first verse kind of leading into the chorus. So now, just to finish with, we're going to be taking a look at this performance that I've been sent from the Olympics that wasn't the opening ceremony performance, but we'll just have a listen. J'irai voler la fortune si tu me la demandais. Je renierai ma patrie, je renierai mes amis si tu me le demandais. So, I mean, the audio quality is coming from Instagram, from my phone, so that's why it sounds a little bit tinny. But with the vocal, you might be able to hear another voice in there. It's exactly the same as that footage that we looked at from the rehearsal for the Olympics, where you can hear Celine's voice just really low in the background. And, by the way, this is exactly the same. Let me try and bring on on the left hand side here, this is, get rid of that to make it clearer, this is the performance at the opening ceremony, and this is the vocal that we've just listened to, the isolated vocal from that. So it means that if I take the 2024 opening ceremony vocal and move it over here, there you go. So we've got this perfect match up. And of course, on the phone recording that's in the judo center, that's got ambient noise on there as well. We have to, take that into consideration. But the lines match up because it's the same audio file. So this performance in the judo center is the same audio that was being played back at the opening ceremony, which is the same audio that's being played back at the rehearsal before the opening ceremony. Of course, I've isolated the vocals, so it means that we can hear Celine's actual voice in the background. And you could say, well, oh, maybe this is somebody singing along in the background. But considering the nature of this performance, it wouldn't really make any sense for somebody to be singing, especially when you can hear the voice, and you can hear that it's Celine's voice, especially considering that other phone footage that we analysed many months ago. So there we go. That was the other voice, because now you can isolate different voices and it will pick up if there's two signals going on. So yeah, that voice that you heard that was now louder in the mix, that was Celine's actual voice. That's just being picked up by the camera when it's being filmed. It's the same audio file. This isn't up for discussion or debate to say, oh, was she miming at the opening ceremony? Was she miming in this performance? There's no was it or wasn't it. It's the same audio file. And I've just shown that again in this video, but I've shown it multiple times before as well. So, I mean, it is very sad that Celine has lost her voice, and you can hear actually that she does have her vibrato. But anyway, yeah, thank you for all of the emails still about Celine Dion and the different performances and all that kind of stuff. But it just is what it is. Like I said, it would be great for Celine to show people, what she's doing for those people who are also suffering. So then, they can maybe get back, part of their voice and their confidence, and just, know that it's not like you see on TV or see in the movies, that it's now miraculously back, and that it's possible to achieve such things. I think it's always good to be totally honest and transparent and just be realistic as well, because that really does help. But also it's the empathy. People will understand, and I think it's just so much more important to be honest and say, look, yes, I've had a very hard time. This is where my voice is at the moment, and this is what I do in order to get it to this point. And it is better to have that rather than, what people see on TV, which is just this miraculous recovery, and then they don't realise why they can't do it themselves. It's because it hasn't happened. And that's why I think it's important just, to be honest, totally transparent. Anyway, thank you guys for all of the emails about this and Celine Dion's voice and everything. I know that it was a big talking point earlier in the year after I did my video initially on the Olympics opening ceremony, but it really just is what it is. So I don't think there's too much more to be said about it. But as always, keep those suggestions and requests for future analysis videos coming in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!